Oh, I guess it's been a few months, and the world has changed. Don't worry, I'm going to avoid in-game spoilers for the moment. But mostly what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to try to break down some of the stuff that's been announced at Comic-Con over the week. Namely, my thoughts on what Marvel Phase 4 is likely to look like, and appropriately, we just picked up the dossier on the Black Widow, because the first movie announced in Phase 4, the thing that's sort of going to serve as the window dressing for Phase 4 in a way that, because obviously, well, okay, I guess I'm not going to avoid all the in-game spoilers. I kind of wanted to. Natasha's kind of dead. And so in order to get her back to life, we kind of have to go back into the past. And so her movie is going to be based, from what I've heard, is going to be based in the time period where she's on the run from Captain America Civil War, which is kind of disappointing. I kind of wanted the Black Widow origin movie kind of clean up some of the things that they left out of there with that character. I mean, there's still that scene in Captain America Winter Soldier where Arnim Zola identifies her as being born in the year 1984, making her too young, really, to be trained by the KGB, but that might have just been a false profile that Zola had access to instead of her real, honest-to-God age. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm excited to see what they do with the Taskmaster. They haven't shown much about the character, so it could be Tony Masters, but they could go another way and institute a different character. Evidently, the Yelena Belova is going to be in the movie, another Black Widow, a blonde one, which they might end the movie with Scarlett Johansson dyeing her hair, perhaps in memory of her fallen friend, or, just because she just needs a new thing because she's on the run. Take a break for a minute here. Just like in the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, you can grab the shields in order to take on bigger enemies. And as you can see, I'm having a little problem in this section, sort of with my repulsor darts sort of finding the way that they pathfinding in order to get to targets. You can play with these missiles. If you kick them hard enough, they will fly and they will mess things up. And oh look! It's not quite a Hind D, but, this is, we get to fight a helicopter. And you would think that an armored helicopter would have very little chance against Tony Stark. But you would be wrong. Well, but hey, give us something to do, right? Let's see here. We were talking about the Black Widow movie. So I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do with it. I really thought it was going to be a Black Widow origin story, be based in like the 90s or the early 2000s. Talk about her training, and there might be flashbacks, and they might do flashback stuff. And I thought that Jeremy Renner would get to be in the movie, get the Hawkeye scene, maybe the scene where Black Widow turns to S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought that might be kind of an exciting thing to see on the screen. I get the whole. I remember when Aaron Hansen was talking about the Solo movie before it came out. He was talking about how they were probably going to portray the Kessel Run, and he really didn't need to see that. So it's very likely in this Black Widow movie that they're not going to show us the key moment in Budapest or wherever it was where Hawkeye turned her to S.H.I.E.L.D. and kind of set up the things for, you know, their relationship going on in the future here. Okay, we're up to another fusion attack section. They want us to do a clearing fusion, I think. So we're going to team up Iron Man and Spider-Man there in order to do that. Do a little bit of healing, and we're going to fight some more Latvarians coming down off of this wall. It's kind of interesting looking at this stuff after having played, or not played, but seen Avengers Endgame, which I've done twice in theaters to kind of help them get over their, you know, most profitable movie ever thing that they were really working toward. But one of the nice things that I liked about Endgame is the Iron Man suit that they use, and Iron Man's now dead. Oops. No, on the game. We're not talking about the movie. I don't know if he dies in the movie. I mean, I'm not supposed to know. Okay, yeah, that was very random how that sort of worked like that. But you can see the Iron Man suit that they use in this game is a comic booky suit. There are pieces of it that reference, you know, what you would call the Iron Man Mark VI suit in the movies. But the suit that Iron Man wears in Endgame is, and they want me to do another fusion attack here, is the Mark 85 suit, which, functionally speaking, I think looks a lot like the Mark 51 that he wore in Infinity War. But the color scheme for it,
They know we're coming. Could get a bit hairier from here on out.
the color scheme for it is, we're going to keep using defensive language here to get the defensive bonuses.
Now you don't need any more detail than that. Let's quit the gibberish.
The color scheme for that suit is very much the color scheme, you know, with gold instead of yellow, of the original sort of the original classic Iron Man suit. Obviously not the oldest Iron Man suits, but, you know, things that he would have worn in the 60s and 70s in his early Avengers runs. Alright, so we're going to collect some stuff here. And I think we're going to make a move away from the Black Widow movie. Again, it looks like we're getting the Taskmaster in the movie. Of course, that requires him to survive that movie. We don't know if that's actually what's going to happen. So, you know, it's just things for us to think about at the moment. All right, and then the TV series, shoot. Basically, they're kind of teaming up the TV series and the, you know, they're interspersing the miniseries in between the movies. And I think it's smart so that you don't lose track of characters that you'll need later. But if I get the order mixed up here, you know, that's what we'll just have to deal with it. Okay, you can see Wolverine's pumped up for some reason. Alright, so the Black Widow movie comes out, and then the first miniseries is Falcon Winter Soldier. And that's evidently what it's going to be called. They're not going to make any sort of attempt to name it, you know, per se, Captain America, or Becoming Captain America, or or Captain America and the White Wolf, which some people want it to be because it seems that the people in Wakanda are using the White Wolf terminology to talk about Bucky, even though Bucky hasn't done anything that the White Wolf in the Black Panther comics traditionally does. He could fit that role, yes, except that that would require him to be more present in Wakandan life, and we just haven't seen it yet. Maybe we will.
Nice work. Now shut off that energy.
So that's one thing that's going out there, but certainly it's going to be about Sam Wilson trying to come to the grips of wearing the Captain America mantle, throwing the Captain America shield. He'll probably end up wearing something similar to the Sam Wilson Captain America suit from the comics. I don't know how they'll address Bucky. But it does seem that Daniel Bruhl as Baron Zemo is going to have a role in that series, and Sharon Carter, Cap's niece, girlfriend, is also going to have a role in that series. Game's trying to get me to do another fusion attack here. I'm not sure that... I think it wants me to do a guided fusion. I don't think that's... So I've got to get off of Iron Man to do that, and I'm not sure, I'm not interested in it to do that. I mean, it's just it's an achievement that you can get, but it's also an achievement that, I easily go back and get in a later playthrough. And I kind of like sticking, I like being Iron Man, having this distance, these distance kinds of attacks, and using those. Letting Cap and Wolverine run around up front, although Spider-Man is technically doing that too right now. He's not a terrible melee fighter, but obviously that's not, in this game, that's not the preferred role you would want him to play. But I don't have any, I can't choose other characters right now. I mean, I could definitely see a lineup where it would just be Iron Man and 3 bruisers, so like Captain America, Miss Marvel, and like Hulk, something like that. I mean, Wolverine's a pretty good bruiser too, also because he regenerates his health pretty quickly. That's why I think in some cases Wolverine and Deadpool are just sort of like, you might as well have them on your team, just because they both heal themselves. So, you try to find an X-Men team or one of the other teams that sort of allows you to work with Wolverine and Deadpool both out there. I don't think there are many combinations that, sort of let that happen. But, the next, getting back to Captain America, getting back to Falcon Winter Soldier, it'll be interesting how they use Zemo, because Zemo existed to screw up the Avengers, because the Avengers had screwed up Sokovia. So you have to ask, what exactly... what's left for Zemo to do? Because his actions essentially kept Tony Stark and Steve Rogers separate during the Infinity War movie. And that resulted ultimately, because they didn't fight together, they didn't work together, ultimately, that killed half of humanity. Somehow I don't think Zemo is going to see that far ahead. Um, and so who would he have? Who would he be interested in avenging himself on? Cap and Tony are dead. If you look at the other people who were responsible for the Sokovia incident, Vision is dead. Scarlet Witch is still there. I mean, Hawkeye is still there. The Hulk's still there. But none of those guys are necessarily going to appear. Oh, here comes a supervillain B team. We've got Scorcher and Wizard. Scorcher's origin I'm not very familiar with. Wizard, I believe, was a Fantastic Four enemy to start with.
Wizard shielded. Focus on Scorcher.
Little fastball special there to get into Scorcher, and that's how you use targeted fusions. Targeted fusions are definitely designed for these, for these boss characters. And it also means that when you pick your team, you want to be careful to try to get a team that can sort of adapt to different situations. So you want a team that has a guided fusion capability. I mean, we got plenty of that here with Spider-Man and Iron Man. Not guided, sorry, clearing fusion. You definitely want to have a clearing fusion capability. The guided fusions are kind of, I think they're the least useful of the three fusion attack types. But you definitely want to have access to a clearing fusion, and you want to have access to a targeted fusion for boss battles. Clearing fusions to get rid of lots of little enemies, targeted fusions for boss battles. There are some guided fusions that just kind of look cool. Like Iron Man and Captain America have a combination where Iron Man shoots against Cap's shield, and then they kind of run around like that, and just try to sweep enemies off the screen. And Spider-Man's dead. I'm getting a lot of Infinity War and flashbacks here. So yeah, I'm gonna. This is why using fusion attacks and getting your health power-ups back is so important, because they turn into the ability to respawn your characters. So that's why that's why Spider-Man was able to get back, because we were able to revive him using one of our health thingies.
Anybody asks, I'll tell them you put up a...
So. So anyways, I'll be interested to see what they do with Zemo in the Falcon Winter Soldier series. I don't have a TV. I won't have Disney Plus when it happens. So, I'll be relying on episode recaps and things like that. Because, I do like, the Anthony Mackie character. Or Anthony Mackie is an actor, and I like Falcon, or as it's Sam Wilson Captain America, as it's about to be. I like that. I just don't know what Zemo's angle is going to be, because as we know him, he was currently only motivated by revenge, and his revenge target seems kind of moot at this moment.
Damn, these doors are actuated to Wizard's gauntlets, but he's out cold. Maybe we can power him up.
And if he was interested in bringing his own family back, obviously there's no Infinity Gauntlet to be able to do that. Of course, you know, there's a rather leaderless Hydra hanging around outside. There's, you know, other groups that Zemo could start or become associated with. I've seen some possibilities online that Zemo might form the Masters of Evil, as he's done on occasion, based on all the little villains that get introduced in other Phase 4 movies. But again, I want to know why he would do that. Why would Zemo need to do any of the stuff that we're talking about? What has fired up his imagination? I mean, I guess the other questions to ask, I mean, Sam and Bucky both got snapped. Did Baron Zemo get snapped? Is that why he's loose now? Because he didn't get snapped, but his guards did, and so therefore he was just sort of able to walk out of prison 5 years ago. Will they try to connect Helmut Zemo to a Baron Zemo of a previous time, like World War II era, like in the like Castle Zemo from the game Captain America Super Soldier? You know,
Lucia, we're home.
it'll be interesting to see. Maybe. I mean, that's just, again, it's just idle speculation. And
Here we go again.
we have pretty much reached the part of the game where we split up.
Communication's still jammed.
And losing Iron Man and Captain America seems bad, but it does mean that we get to throw some new characters into the mix, and we'll do so starting next episode. So I'll meet you guys then for more Phase 4 talk, too.